There's a new technology, well, newish, I guess the past year and a half, 2 years, that helps remove plaque and calcium from your arteries. Initially, this technology was used back in the 80s and 90s to remove kidney stones. And in recent years, it's been used or revamped to remove the calcium from your arteries. It's kind of like plumbing the arteries, removing cholesterol and fat that builds up along the wall of the arteries. So where the heart, it causes the heart not to get enough blood. This new technique is called intravascular lithotripsy. Intravascular lithotripsy. IVL, basically. So this helps improve the effectiveness of kind of clearing the calcified arteries. It was approved by the FDA in around 2001 February. It was mainly used, again, for kidney stones back in the 80s, the same technology. So what it does, it takes like a catheter-like device and makes a small incision and slides into your vessels, and it uses sonic waves, sound waves, to crack the calcium in your arteries. So this gives enough like wiggle room for your blood to flow. But they put like a metal coil to help kind of like remove the arteries and allow more blood flow. And they say there's no pain in this process and not a lot of wall damage. They said that's part of this. I guess that's one of the side effects. It's possible, but usually they say there's no wall damage to your arteries. So it's like they're taking this it's called like a cardiac catheterization procedure. Okay, so they take the small incision, they make a small incision in your leg or the arm, and this thin flexible tube catheter, which is used in a lot of medical procedures. The catheter has like a special sonic wave emitters in it, and it's like a slender balloon, and they insert all of that into the blood vessel. So I assume all this is really small. And using advanced imaging guidance, they thread the catheter. I guess it's like, I don't want to say it's threading a needle, but yeah, they use like imaging guidance, kind of like how certain surgeons, when they use those robots now, they have like an imaging where they blow up the image of whatever they're working on. And they thread this catheter to the calcified artery. So once that catheter is in place, there's a balloon that's expanded with a liquid solution, and it transfers the sound wave energy throughout the artery. The emitters deliver focused sound waves that pass through the soft tissue of the artery to crack the calcified plaque. So the sound waves basically can pass through. That's a pretty great idea. So it's not like you're having anything pass through the walls, but of course sound can pass through solid material, right? So if it can pass through walls, and sound can pass through the walls of the artery, and the sound breaks up the calcium. I guess it's kind of like a vibration idea, or sound breaking glass, right? So it breaks the glass but doesn't break anything else. So it's kind of like a frequency, a vibration. This is all me here, just guessing here. How I'm kind of conceptualizing how they're explaining how this works, right? So yeah, I guess the sound can go through the walls and cracks the calcium and plaque that's in the artery. So once the calcium or calcified plaque is cracked up by the sound waves, they place like a metal coil. They call it a stent. It's like a metal coil, very small, and it kind of expands, and that kind of restores the blood flow. They say the procedure takes up about an hour. They say the procedure is pretty safe and effective, and they show it carries a very low risk of potential complications like blood vessel damage, but they say it's really, really low risk. And the fact that it takes like an hour, they say it pretty much saves time, because like the olden days they did surgery and it was much more complicated and much more, I guess, high risk. So now they can use kind of like more of a sonic technology to help them reduce time and provide more effective surgery. Even after the sound waves, they still need to kind of put this metal coil in to kind of help remove a lot of the calcium and plaque that's kind of built up in the arteries. But still, I think this helps ease the process and makes it minimally dangerous for the patient. Something that they can pretty much recover from in again, the benefits are more blood flow. It's pretty interesting how they use this for kidney stones back in the old days. It basically was used as like something to blast kidney stones in the abdominal area. And back then it was more open surgery back then to remove kidney stones. But now with this, it's less invasive and it requires less cutting. And this is good. I think sometimes some surgeries or hospitals, sometimes we're just too quick to cut people. And when there's less invasive strategies, right? With all this new laser and sound technology, we have less use for cutting. I think even when it comes to ligaments, I think that some things just take more time. I wish they would use some of this on athletes. They probably do. I did a video too on ACL replacements, but I think there should be less cutting involved also when it comes to athletes, and athletes should also be provided more time to heal. That's a whole other topic because a lot of stuff is money driven, and there are a whole lot of other things involved in that, but there's some ethics, I think, that should be taken into account in regards to somebody's healing and recovery. And I think that there should be more research and development, and then there is in these non-invasive techniques, using lasers, sound waves, things you can rub on the skin. I mean, there's so many solutions we're coming up with now. It's amazing how technology is moving really fast, and it's hard for us to keep up. It's hard for me to keep up, but I think this is a great solution for clearing arteries. And then there's also exercising, eating correctly, which we all need to do. Even me myself, it's hard. I know it's hard. It's hard because the food is out there and it's calling your name. I know. I'm struggling with you. I'm out there, in the trenches, in the trenches of trying not to eat junk food. Yeah, but I mean, I think I'm doing okay with that. But yeah, I think it's better to use preventative measures. But again, even some things are not our diet, and some things are genetic, or there are other reasons why your arteries get clogged up and calcified. Who knows? I'm going to also post a video that kind of explains it in a more graphic illustration, right? And it kind of explains how the device works and how it clears your arteries. And after that should be done, feel free to leave your comments, and I want to thank you for listening. Oh yeah, and don't forget to like and subscribe, please. Thank you.
The shockwave intravascular lithotripsy system creates pulsatile sonic pressure waves to modify calcium in a safe manner. It consists of a compact rechargeable generator, a simple connector cable, and an intuitive catheter, which houses an array of lithotripsy emitters enclosed in an integrated balloon. Through the localized delivery of lithotripsy, the IVL system minimizes trauma, optimizes outcomes, and simplifies procedures. In a standard technique, the IVL catheter is advanced and placed at the lesion using marker bands under angiography. With the integrated balloon expanded to subnominal pressure of 4 atmospheres by a mixed saline and contrast solution, the fluid within the fully opposed balloon acts as a coupler to facilitate efficient energy transfer of the sonic pressure waves into the vessel wall to reach the calcium. The generator produces 3 kilovolts of energy that travels through the connector cable and catheter to the lithotripsy emitters once per second. While other treatments can't differentiate between calcium and soft tissue, acoustic pressure waves pass through soft tissue to impact both intimal and medial calcium. With emitters along the length of the balloon, a localized field effect is created. A small electrical discharge at the emitters vaporizes the fluid within the balloon to create a rapidly expanding bubble that generates the sonic pressure waves and then collapses within a few microseconds. When the waves impact the calcium at nearly 50 atmospheres, they create a series of microfractures. After the calcium has been fractured and trauma to the surrounding soft tissue has been minimized, the vessel becomes more compliant. Once lithotripsy has been completed, the operator can proceed with the preferred treatment strategy to optimize outcomes. By making the treatment of calcified lesions more predictable, IVL is simplifying complex procedures.